The lights were dim. The air was cold and smelled like oil and fear. Somewhere deep in the space station, a heavy metal door opened with a loud sound. Guards pulled a young woman forward. Her wrists were tied and her face was bruised. Her name was Lyra. She looked weak, but her eyes still burned with fire. She had been running before trying to escape, but they caught her. Now she stood inside the auction hall, where living beings were sold like property. Above her, a robotic voice spoke through a speaker. Lot number 27, human female. Excellent condition, starting bid 2,000 credits. The aliens in the room whispered to each other. Tall, short, slimy, or covered in armor, buyers from many species had gathered. Most had never seen a human girl before. Humans were rare now. Many were taken, sold, or killed. But Lyra was special, and someone had paid to put her on this platform. Behind the curtain, her ex-boyfriend, Kavik, watched. He wore a sharp suit and smiled. Once, he held Lyra's hand and told her he loved her. Now, he watched her being sold like a piece of meat. Greed had eaten his soul. She was nothing but trouble, he said to a guard. Now she's profit. Lyra stood tall even though her knees shook. She heard the crowd grow louder. 2,200. 2,300. I offer 2,500 credits and a rare crystal from planet Exira. The room buzzed. The bids climbed. Some buyers argued. Others just smiled, but then, silence. A door opened in the back. A man entered. He wore a dark cloak, face hidden under a hood. He walked slowly, like he had all the time in the world. No one knew him. No one had seen him before, the auctioneer robot asked. Do you have a bid, stranger? The man stopped in front of the stage. He looked up at Lyra. For a moment, she thought she saw kindness in his eyes, not lust. Not greed, just something. Human. He spoke in a calm, deep voice. I bid everything. The room froze. One alien hissed. Another shouted, "That's not a number." But the auctioneer paused. Its scanners beeped. The man's wrist device showed a code access to a hidden account with enough credits to buy 10 liras. Bid accepted. The robot confirmed. Kavik's smile vanished. Who is this guy? He asked. Check his name. I want to know. But no. Records came up? The stranger was a ghost in the system. Lyra was pulled off the stage and given to the man. She didn't speak. She didn't trust him. Why should she? In the cold hallway outside the auction, the man finally removed his hood. He had a hard face, a soldier's face, but his eyes were soft when they looked at her. I'm Ro, he said simply. You're safe now. She laughed bitterly. No one is safe, she said, especially not me. They walked in silence to his ship, a small, fast craft with no flags or marks. Inside it was clean but simple. He gave her a seat, a blanket, and a warm drink. I don't understand, she said. Why by me? Why not just leave me there? Ro looked at her and said, because you're not a thing to be sold. You're a person. You just forgot for a while. Lyra looked down at her hands. They were still shaking. She whispered, I didn't forget, I just stopped hoping. Ro didn't say anything. He turned on the ship and flew into the stars. Back at the auction hall, Kavik punched a wall. Find him, he yelled. I want her back. She knows too much. In the dark, something else stirred. Lyra's name was now in a system watched by powerful eyes. Not just her ex, not just criminals, but beings from high above, those who feared what humans like Lyra could become. But for now, Lyra looked out the window as stars rushed past. For the first time in years, she felt something strange in her chest. Hope. Asterisk. The stars outside the ship blinked like cold eyes. Lyra sat quietly in her seat, a blanket around her shoulders, her wrists still sore from the chains. She stared at her reflection in the glass. Who was this girl staring back? A slave? A survivor, or something else? Ro didn't speak much. He sat in the pilot chair, steady hands on the controls, eyes scanning the stars. The silence inside the ship wasn't awkward. It was peaceful, like the silence after a storm. After a while, Lyra asked, Why did you do it? Ro didn't look back. Because I remember what it's like to be owned. That sentence sat in the air like a heavy stone. Lyra looked at him, surprised. You were a slave? He nodded. Long ago. Different planet, different war. But the feeling is the same. Lyra studied him now. He wasn't young, but he wasn't old either. Strong shoulders. A scar near his eye. His voice had weight, but no anger. Only calm, the kind of calm that comes after losing too much. You saved. Me, she said. But what now? Where are we going? Someplace quiet, Ro replied. I have a ship, a crew, a safe place. You have a crew? She asked, confused. But you came alone. I always come alone to the dark places, Ro said. No one else should have to see them. The ship entered a hidden system, no lights, no signals. A moon with silver fog hanging low. There, in orbit, floated a larger ship. It was old but powerful. The name painted on the side read, The Nomad's Mercy. When they docked, the door opened to soft lights and warm air. Lyra blinked. A tall alien with bright blue skin smiled and waved. Welcome back, Captain, she said. Then she looked at Lyra and added, And new cargo? Ro shook his head. Not cargo, guest. Lyra noticed the alien's eyes soften at those words. They walked down a hallway. Lyra saw beings of many species, some human-like, some not, but all of them greeted Ro with respect. Some nodded, some smiled. A few even looked grateful. Who? Are these people? Lyra asked. Ro answered. People I found. Like you, broken, lost, hunted? Are you building an army? No, he said. Just a family. Later, in the medbay, a small robot gently treated Lara's bruises. The blue-skinned alien, whose name was Senya, sat nearby. You're lucky, Senya said. He doesn't save just anyone. I didn't ask him to, Lyra replied. Senya chuckled. Exactly, that's why he did. Lyra wanted to argue, but something inside her had shifted. She didn't feel like a prisoner anymore. But she didn't feel free either. Not yet. She walked alone into a quiet room, dark except for a screen showing news from across the galaxy. She tapped the console. Her name didn't appear anywhere, but then she saw his name, Kavik. Space Trader Kavik delivers rare tech to Union Command. The news read. His smiling face filled the screen. Lyra's hands curled into fists. He was out there, pretending to be a hero while she had been in chains. Suddenly the screen changed. A voice spoke from behind her. You should know something. It was Ro. He tapped a few keys. A secret file opened. A list appeared. Project Ember. Human trafficking records. Confidential lot number 1. Female. Subject ID. Lyra status. Sold. Price 2,000 credits. Buyer. Unknown. Notes. Potential Class C genetic anomaly. Special interest. Do not terminate. Lyra stared at the screen. Her legs felt weak. What is this? She whispered. Ro said softly. You weren't sold just because you're human. Someone paid extra for you. Lyra looked at him. Why? I don't know yet, he said, but I'll find out. That night, Lyra couldn't sleep. She walked to the observation window, where stars floated like dreams she couldn't reach. Ro stood there too, arms crossed. Do you believe in fate? She asked. No, he replied. I believe in choices. What if someone already chose my future for me? Ro looked at her. Then we break it, he said. Far away in a dark control room. Kavik stared at a blinking red light. A tracking signal had been activated. He smiled. She's still alive, he said. Good. Behind him, a shadow moved. A voice whispered, we want her back, no matter the cost. Kavik nodded. She won't stay free for long. The ship was quiet, but Lyra could feel something breathing inside it. Memories. Whispers, maybe ghosts. It had been 3 days since Ro rescued her from the auction. She had food, a bed, a door that didn't lock from the outside. But peace felt like a trick, like someone was waiting for her to relax, and then take everything away again. Lyra walked through the narrow hallway, her fingers brushing the cold metal walls. Each door she passed was marked with strange symbols. She didn't ask what they meant. She had learned to survive by not asking. Too much, but today, something called to her. A door on the lower level stood slightly open. Inside, the lights flickered. She hesitated. then stepped in. The room was filled with boxes and datapads stacked on shelves. A table in the middle held an old hologram projector, half covered in dust. Files, codes, and blinking screens filled the air with soft static dot, and on one of the screens, a name. Lyra Alien Classified Human Subject. Del is she? Froze. What was this place? Footsteps behind her. She turned fast, ready to fight, but it was Ro. His expression didn't change. You weren't supposed to find this room. Then why didn't you lock it? She snapped. Ro looked around slowly. Because part of me wanted you to find it. Lyra stepped toward the screen. What is this? Why is my name in your files? Why are there others? Ro walked to the table and tapped a button. A hologram appeared. Dozens of names floated in the air, humans, all sold like her. Most marked as missing, some marked as deceased. She pointed at one name, Ilian, Kai. Status, unknown. Her hand trembled. My sister. She whispered, You have my sister's name. Ro nodded slowly. You said you had no family left. I had to check. Did you find her? Lyra asked, voice shaking. No, he said. But she was on the same trade route. Sold 3 years ago. There's still a chance. Lyra stared at the glowing name like it might disappear. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't want to give you false hope, Ro said. But maybe it's not false. Later, Lyra sat alone in the dark cargo bay. Her heart was heavy. The ship's engine hummed gently under her. Senya, the blue-skinned crew member, found her there. Ro told you, didn't he? Senya said. Lyra nodded. I thought I was the only one, she said. But there are so many people lost. Senya sat beside her. I was one of them once, before Ro found me. I thought I was broken beyond repair. And now? Lyra asked. Senya smiled gently. Now I fight. That night, Lyra made a decision. She asked Ro, Can I help you? I don't want to hide anymore. I want to find her. I want to find all of them. Ro looked at her for a long moment, then he nodded. Then you'll need to know how to fight. The next morning, training began. Lyra stood in the ship's gym. Ro showed her how to punch, how to block, how to move. At first, she stumbled. Her body was still healing, but her eyes burned with purpose. You're not teaching me to fight like a soldier, she said. You're teaching me to fight like you. I'm teaching you to survive, Ro said, and to protect the ones who can't. One evening, Ro took her to a hidden chamber near the engine room. Inside, a glass case held a suit of black armor, simple, strong, human-made. This belonged to me, Ro said. From the old wars? You were in a war? Yes, he said. I've seen what happens when people stop fighting for each other. Lyra looked at the armor. Why are you showing me this? Because one day it might be yours. But not everyone on the ship wanted her there that same night. In the shadows of the storage deck, a figure activated a small transmitter. A red light blinked once, then vanished. A message was sent. Target found. Lyra Alien on Nomad's Mercy. Send the orders. Somewhere across the galaxy, Kavik sat in a golden chair, drinking sweet wine. His communicator buzzed. He listened, then smiled. She thinks she's safe, he whispered. Let her think that. He pressed a button. Send the bounty hunters back. On the ship, Lyra finally slept soundly for the first time in years. She didn't know that danger was already on its way. She didn't know that one of Ro's own crew had betrayed them, and she didn't know that soon. Her fight would begin for real. It began with a song, a low, mechanical hum, soft, almost peaceful. It played from a speaker in the wall, an old Earth lullaby. Lyra had never heard it before, but somehow it made her cry. She was in the gym, punching the training dummy, sweat on her skin. Fire in her heart. Ro had told her to keep training. Don't wait for danger, he said. It's already walking toward you. But Lyra didn't know that the danger had already arrived. At that very moment, 3 ships uncloaked above the silver moon. Their shapes were sharp like knives, no lights, no warnings. Bounty hunters paid by Kavik, sent to bring Lyra back. Alive or dead inside the Nomad's Mercy. Alarms suddenly screamed. Red lights flashed in the halls. Ro burst into the gym. Get to the armory, now! Lyra followed him through the narrow corridors. The ship shook violently. They've jammed. Our signals, Senya shouted from the comms room. I count 3 attackers and... They knew exactly where to find us. Ro's eyes narrowed. We've been betrayed. He looked at Lyra. This isn't training anymore. Stay behind me. But Lyra didn't dot as the ship was boarded. Blasters lit up the halls. Smoke filled the air. Ro fought like a storm-fast, silent, deadly. He knocked one bounty hunter out cold with a single hit, but the attackers weren't ordinary thugs. They were trained. And they were prepared. One of them, a masked figure in white armor, charged straight toward Lyra. She raised her blaster. Her hands shook. Then she remembered. Her sister's name on that screen. Ki. She pulled the trigger. The blast hit the attacker in the shoulder. He dropped his weapon. Lyra ran and kicked him in the chest, sending him crashing into the wall. Her heart pounded. I'm not property, she whispered. Not anymore. Elsewhere, Senya tried to lock down the ship's systems, but it was too late. A virus had already entered the mainframe. One of the crew had uploaded it. The lights went dark. Doors opened at the wrong time. The ship itself turned against them. In the engine room, Ro fought 2 hunters at once. One tried to stab him. Ro caught the blade with his bare hand. Blood ran down his fingers. He didn't flinch. But then, behind him, someone aimed a rifle. Lyra saw it. She didn't think. She ran. She shoved Ro out of the way. Just as the shot fired, the energy blast hit her shoulder. She screamed and collapsed. Ro turned and shot the attacker in the chest, ending him in seconds. He dropped to Lyra's side. You shouldn't have done that, Lyra smiled weakly. You told me not to wait for danger. The ship was badly damaged, but the crew fought hard. Slowly, room by room, they pushed the bounty hunters back. Senya found the one who betrayed them, a thin, nervous engineer named Krell. Why? She asked him. They paid me, Krell shouted. They said it was just information. I didn't know they'd attack us. Senya didn't shoot him. She simply locked him in the storage bay. For now, she said coldly. When the last bounty hunter fell, the ship was silent again. Fires burned in the halls. Walls were cracked. Blood marked the floors, but they were alive. Ro carried Lyra to the medbay. The wound on her shoulder wasn't deep, but the pain was real. You saved me, Ro said quietly. I guess we're even, Lyra replied, half smiling. No, he said. You went beyond survival. That was courage. While she rested, Ro returned to the secret room. He stared at the files. One image caught his eye, a surveillance photo of a girl. Same face as Lyra, but younger. Kaia. Elian, but something was wrong. Her eyes were cold, empty. The photo was marked with a new tag. Reassigned. Class E subject, now working with Kavik. Project, Revival. Ro's face darkened. He returned to Lyra and showed her the file. At first, she didn't understand. Then she read it again. No, she said, shaking her head. She wouldn't work with him. But deep down, something inside, her cracked her sister, was alive, but no longer free. Far across the stars, Kavik stood beside a girl in a white uniform. She looked like Lyra. She stared at a glowing map. Her voice was calm, robotic. I will find her, she said. And when I do, I will bring her back. Kavik nodded. Do not fail me, Kaya. Back on the ship, Lyra stared out into space, her shoulder wrapped in bandages. She's alive, she whispered. Ro stood beside her. Yes, but she's not the same. No, Ro said. But that doesn't mean she's lost forever. Lyra's hands clenched. I'll bring her back, she said. No matter what it takes. It started with a nightmare. Lyra stood inside a white room. No doors, no windows, just silence. Then came the voice, not a scream, not a whisper, but something in between. You are not what they think you are. She looked down. Her hands were glowing. Her skin cracked like glass light pouring out. Then she woke up. The ship's medbay was cold and quiet. Her shoulder still hurt from the battle, but the pain wasn't what made her shake. It was the dream. Or memory. She couldn't tell anymore. Senya sat beside her, holding a small silver device. Ro asked me to scan you again, Senya said gently, just to make sure you're healing. The device beeped. Senya frowned. What is it? Lyra asked. Senya didn't answer right away. Then she said, your DNA. Isn't normal? Minutes later, Rose stood in the secret lab with her. A screen showed twisting lines and strange data. You're human, he said, but not fully. I don't understand, Lyra whispered. Rose zoomed into the image. There's something in your blood. Artificial strands, like rewritten code. You were enhanced. Lyra stepped back. You mean I'm not real? No, Rose said firmly. You're real. You were born. But someone changed you after. For what? We don't know yet, but the auction file said one thing, Class E evolution. Senya brought an old file from the archives. It was from a military base. Long abandoned. Inside was a logo. Project Ember, the next human, and below it, photos of children. In white rooms, one of them was Lyra. Another was Kaia. Lyra couldn't breathe. They did this to us, she whispered. When we were kids, yes, Rose said. But someone covered it up, someone powerful. Lyra clenched her fists. You said I was just lost, that I wasn't broken, she said. But what if I was built for something else? Rose looked at her carefully. Then maybe it's time you find out what that is. They flew to a dead planet, Zarian 5, a graveyard world filled with sand, ash, and rusted metal. No life, no signals. But Ro believed something was buried there. Why this place? Lyra asked. Because I followed the code in your blood. He said, it led us here. Deep underground, they found it. A forgotten ember lab. Dust covered the walls. Lights flickered like dying stars. They stepped through rooms filled with shattered tanks. Broken machines and empty cages. In one room. A single screen still worked. Lyra touched it. The screen blinked. Access granted. Lyra Elena video played. Doctor in a white coat spoke. Subject 13 shows rapid adaptation, physical resilience, memory control. Emotional suppression failed. She still cries. That makes her unstable. But she has potential. Lyra's knees gave out. She fell too. The ground shaking. I was just a test, she whispered. No, Rose said, helping her up. You were a child. They used you? But they didn't make your soul. Suddenly, the lab lights turned red. A voice echoed through the halls. Unauthorized access detected. Doors slammed shut. From the shadows, 2 machines dropped from the ceiling. Guard bots still active after all these years. They opened fire. Ro dove in front of Lara, returning shots. One of the bots exploded, the other kept coming. Lyra screamed. Then something happened. Time slowed. Her vision sharpened. She moved before she could think, grabbing a metal bar. Spinning, striking the bot's head, clean off. Silence. Smoke. Ro stared at her. You just moved like a soldier with 10 years of training. He said, I didn't even think, she replied. Exactly. They escaped the lab and returned to the ship. Lyra stood at the window, watching stars swirl like rivers of light. I was made to be a weapon, she said. No, Ro said. You were turned into one. There's a difference. She turned to him. But what if I need to become that weapon? To stop what's coming, he paused. Then nodded. Then aim it at the right enemy. Later that night, Senya brought news. They had tracked a signal. Kaia's ship. She was heading toward a colony where free humans still lived. Likely to capture or destroy. Lyra didn't hesitate. I'm going after her, she said. Ro stood. Not alone, she looked at him. Double quote, no. Not this time, she said. I have to face her myself. She's dangerous. She's my sister. Ro nodded. Then I'll make sure you come back. Far across the galaxy, Kaia stared at the same stars, her voice flat and cold. Spoke into her comes. She unlocked her past. Now we unlock her purpose. A shadowy figure behind her replied, and if she resists? Kaia's eyes narrowed. Then, I'll break her. The planet was dying. Dark clouds rolled across the sky. The ground below was cracked and dry. Once, this place was a peaceful human colony. Now it was quiet, too quiet. Lyra stepped off the small dropship, her boots crunching on burnt soil. She had come alone. Behind her, the sky rumbled like something angry was waking up, but Lyra wasn't afraid. She came here with a promise in her heart. I will bring my sister back. Even if it killed her, she moved through the broken town slowly. Houses were abandoned. Smoke rose from a far-off tower. No people. Just shadows. A voice came from her comms. Signal confirmed. Kaya is inside the control dome. It was Ro, watching from orbit. Lyra whispered. I go in alone. Ro's voice was quiet. We'll be ready if you need us. She turned off. The COMS. This was her moment. The control dome stood like a black egg cracked open. Wires hung like vines. Inside, red lights blinked in silence. Lyra stepped in. There she was. Kai, standing in the center of the room, wearing a white and gray bodysuit. Her hair was shorter now, her face sharper. Cold, she didn't smile. You came, Kaya said. Lyra took a step forward. I had to. You shouldn't have. I'm not leaving without you. Kaya tilted her head. I'm not yours to save. The doors slammed shut behind Lyra. From the walls, soldiers stepped out, machines wearing human armor. Their eyes glowed red. Kaya raised a hand, and they stopped. Before I give the order to kill you, she said, I want to ask something. Lyra narrowed her eyes. Ask. Kaya walked closer. Her voice was calm, emotionless. Why did you leave me? Lyra blinked. What? They took us, Kaya said. But you ran. I remember. You escaped. You didn't come back for me. Lyra's voice cracked. I didn't even know you were alive. You didn't try to find out, Kaya said, flat. Lyra stepped forward, fists clenched. I was 8. They drugged. US burned our names. They turned me into a number. I didn't even remember who I was. Kaya's lip trembled, but just for a second, then the mask returned. You should leave. I won't. Kaya turned her back. Then I'll make you. The machines moved. Lyra rolled to the side, grabbing a stun baton from her belt. She hit one machine in the leg. It sparked, fell. Another tackled her from behind. She struggled under its weight. Then Kaya stepped in. Stop. The machines froze. Kaya looked down at her sister. You fight well. Just like they trained you to. Lyra gasped for breath. This isn't me? This isn't you either. Kaya crouched down. I used to cry at night, she whispered. I waited for you every day, then one day I stopped. I'm sorry, Lyra said, tears in her eyes. Kaya stared at her. For a moment she looked human again, then a voice buzzed through the speakers. Enough weakness. A hologram lit up in the air. Kavik, watching from his ship. I told you, Kaya, he said. She's soft, like before, and this. Kaya looked up at the screen, and for the first time, she disobeyed. No. She stood and pulled Lyra to her feet. Kavik's voice sharpened. What are you doing? Kaya stared at her sister. Choosing, Kavik snarled. You don't get to choose, you're mine. Kaya raised her hand, then crushed the comms device on her wrist. No, she said again. I belong to no one. The machines twitched, confused, then powered down. Lyra blinked. Kaya, are you really? I'm still me, Kaya said softly. Somewhere inside, you found me. But before Lyra could speak, a warning flashed. On the screen, self-destruct activated. 3 minutes. Kavik's voice returned. If I can't have her, no one can. The control dome began to shake. Kai turned to Lyra. Go, now. No, I'm not leaving you. You have to. I just got you back. Kaya grabbed her face gently. You came for me. That's more than I ever had, Lyra screamed. Come with me. Kaya smiled, just barely. Next time. She pushed Lyra toward the exit, then turned to face the control panel. Lyra ran, heartbreaking. As the dome exploded behind her in flames and smoke, Ro's ship picked her up seconds before the fire reached the sky. From the window, she saw the burning tower fall, and she screamed out, not from pain, but from the terrible silence. Hours later, she sat in the medical bay, wrapped in a blanket. Ro sat beside her. Quiet. She saved me, Lyra said. She remembered, Ro answered. She should be here. She made a choice. Lyra didn't speak for a long time. Then she looked up. I'm going to finish what she started. Ro nodded. What will you do now? He asked. She stood, eyes sharp. Burn everything they built, but far across the stars. Inside a dark cryo chamber. Kaya opened her eyes. A voice whispered from the shadows. Subject recovered. Prepare for phase 2? The storm began with silence. No sirens, no warning. Just a heavy pause in the stars, like the galaxy itself was holding its breath. Then came the fire. Kavek's fortress ship orbiting above a red gas giant lit up with explosions, one by one. Its outer defense rings collapsed. Inside, soldiers ran, alarms screamed, and orders were shouted in panic. From the bridge, Kavek watched the chaos below. "She's here," he said, half smiling. "Of course she is." Lyra didn't knock. She dropped from orbit in a stolen hunter pod, crashed through the outer decks, and burst through enemy lines like a storm wrapped in steel. She wore black combat armor, not sleek but strong. Rose old gear, modified to fit her. This wasn't the same girl who had stood in chains on an auction stage. This was something else. Something the galaxy hadn't seen before. A free, evolved human who chose her own war. She moved fast, taking out guards with stunning precision, no wasted motion. Every shot, every strike, delivered with quiet rage. But she wasn't here just to fight. She was here to end it. Elsewhere on the ship, Ro and Senya led a second wave from the rear. Their rebel crew split enemy ranks, clearing the path to the central core. "Lyra's inside already," Ro said. Senya raised an eyebrow. "How did she beat us here?" Ro smiled. "She doesn't wait anymore." Inside the core control room, Kavek waited. He stood in front of a massive energy chamber. Inside it, floating in stasis, was Kaia. Alive. Not asleep. Just. Died. Phase 2 begins now, Kavek said into a headset. "Download the memory, reboot the programming. Turn her against her own blood." But the lights flickered, doors burst open, and Lyra stepped through. Blaster raised. "You're done," she said. Kavik turned slowly. "Hello, sweetheart." The two faced off, no words at first. Only breath. "And history, you took everything." "From me," she said. "I gave you purpose," Kavik replied. "You just never understood. You sold me. I made you." Lyra's voice dropped cold. "You made a mistake." Kavik pulled a hidden weapon and fired. Lyra rolled, dodged, shot back. Sparks flew. Glass shattered. They fought hand to hand, brutal and fast. Kavik was stronger, smarter, but Lyra was something else now. She fought not for herself, but for everyone he'd broken. In the end, she knocked him down hard. Blaster aimed at his heart, but she didn't. "Shoot." "Why?" he asked, coughing blood. "You finally win, and you won't take the shot?" "Because I'm not your creation," she said. "I'm free." She turned to Kaia's stasis chamber. Ro arrived just in time. "I've locked the system," he said. "We can bring her out safely." Lyra nodded. "Then do it." The chamber hissed open. Kaia's eyes flickered. She stepped out, trembling, like waking from a long nightmare. "Lyra?" she whispered. "I'm here." Tears filled both their eyes. "I tried to stop them," Kaia said. "I tried, I know," Lyra whispered. They hugged, two sisters. Broken, but finally whole. Behind them, Kavik crawled to a console. His fingers hovered over a red switch marked, "Purge." "Then if I can't control you," he hissed, "I'll erase you." He pressed it. The ship began to overload. Ro grabbed Lyra's arm. "We need to leave, now." They ran through burning corridors. Explosions ripped the halls apart. As they reached the hangar, Kavik's voice echoed through the speakers. "If I fall, I take you all with me." Lyra looked back one last time. "Not this time," she said. They launched the escape ship as the fortress exploded behind them, swallowed by fire, silence, and finally, nothing. Days later, the Nomad's Mercy floated above a peaceful blue planet. A safe zone for rescued humans and other ex-slaves. Lyra stood on a cliff, watching sunrise for the first time in years. Kaia walked beside her, still healing, but smiling. "Where do we go now?" Kaia asked. Lyra didn't answer right away. Then she said, "Anywhere we want." Ro joined them. Silent as ever. "You kept your promise," he told Lyra. She looked at him. "No," she said. "You did. You were the first one who saw me, not as a weapon, not as property, but as a person." He nodded. "And now?" he asked. Lyra smiled. "Now it's my turn to do the same for others." Far away, in a hidden chamber on another world. Black box blinked, a recording. Kavak's final data log, a new figure watched it play, face unseen, they whispered. The experiment didn't fail. It escaped. But that's a story for another time.